Yo, Paweł, it's time.
Oh my God, they're already here?
They're already there.
Okay, hi guys, and welcome to our great, I don't know how to call it, postcard
Webinar.
Yeah, and we will tell you why Trek2Summit is the right partner to go with, and tell you also more about AMD instances at AWS. Welcome and enjoy.
Let's go. Hello again, guys. Let us reintroduce ourselves. My name is Rafał Król from the company you may not yet well know, which is called Trek2Summit, but hopefully by the end of this video you will know a little bit more about ourselves. But with me is a person whose company is probably very known to you, and that is Paweł. Paweł, tell us something about yourself.
Hi guys, but before I start, what was your name?
My name?
Yeah, again, please. Rafał what?
Write in the comments.
Okay, write in the comments, yeah. Guys, Paweł Walczysko, nice to meet you. I'm an AMD Cloud Sales specialist covering different regions, mainly the DACH region and CE. And why we are here? I think the main reason why we are here is we want to introduce Trek2Summit to the broader
audience.
That
would be the main reason, although I would say we have three main reasons. So one, obviously, who are we, Trek2Summit, our partnership with AMD, who, as I said, you already know, most probably, either through your interactions with AWS Cloud, other clouds, your gaming consoles, you already know who they are. Second topic, brand new AMD processors. We had a lineup of these recently being announced, so we're going to talk about them.
Okay guys, I think I should tell you a little bit more about the partnership between Trek2Summit and AMD. I think it started 3 years ago at an AWS event in Germany. It was in my home city, Berlin, and I was talking to the CEO of Trek2Summit at our booth. Yeah, not you, so far, not you. And we started a kind of really good conversation about future topics, about cloud migration, about what are the challenges. And we said, hey, let's do a try. Let's start a collaboration. And we started to engage with doing a lot of webinars. We did joint events. We did a lot of POCs, and we are here to support Trek2Summit in terms also of benchmarking. And I think what is the main reason why you should choose Trek2Summit as a partner, and why Trek2Summit is now starting to do the next step and also targeting the UK customers. I think one of the main topics is cost advantage you can achieve with Trek2Summit compared probably to other MSPs. And I think also with the great technical background which Rafał has and the whole Trek2Summit guys, it's a perfect partner for go.
You can't go wrong with us. Yeah, that's a promise if you go with us, which we want to encourage you to do. Thank you, Paweł. As you said, we've done AMD and Trek2Summit have collaborated before on multiple projects. For instance, GPU workloads for film schools. You can, achieve great performance with these type of instances from AMD. But today, again, we're gonna touch upon a subject that's very, dear to my heart, which is well-architected framework. As a company, we do what is called well-architected framework reviews. So we help review your current architecture, whether you're an enterprise, whether you're a startup, whether your workload is already there out in production, or you're just trying to launch a new product. We're helping with that using AWS proven methodology. And you can gain performance efficiency, better cost optimization, sustainability goals, and all of that good stuff, which we're going to talk about later on.
Okay guys, I will tell you a little bit more about AMD. I think right now, the way how we see our company, or we see us, is that we are one of the new data center leaders. And why we are the new data center leaders? Because that's a really important fact. You can find different and really different various products from AMD. It's not just the CPU, we also have networking, we also have GPUs, and that's the reason why we think that we are the new data center leader. And of course, last but not least, we also have networking. Yeah, so a lot of stuff around in our product portfolio. It's important to know that AMD is not just a CPU company. We have a lot of different products right now. And what you can see on the slide behind me, I think it's behind me because, you know, I'm sitting in a TV studio. I have no clue how it will, the final product look like, but I guess it will be somewhere here. So right now, and just to give you a small hint, I joined AMD 5 years ago. When I joined AMD, Rafał, just to let you know, and I think I already told you the story, we were, I think, on around 8% market share. Okay. I also think we had around about 8,000 employees. I'm not sure, please don't nail me about it, but yeah. 5 years later, we have around 40% market share in the data center, and we are 26,000 employees.
Paweł, you made a great difference to the AMD.
Significant growth, thank you. I think I was also part of it, and if my boss is seeing this podcast, or however we call it, please have it in mind that the partners here speaking good about me. And yeah, what is important to know, because today here we focus on AWS. It's important to know that AMD is also available at all the different hyperscalers. Yeah, so you can find our CPUs, or how we call it in the public cloud world, instances at Google, at Microsoft. You can find it at Oracle Cloud. So everywhere. Yeah. So I think we have more than, I even don't know the last number, but more than 1,000 different instances right now. And it's important to know that we have a great partnership with AWS. There are a lot of different services at AWS where you can choose AMD instances.
Yeah, I think you should talk more, because I guess people mostly think EC2 instances. Compute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not AC2 instances. Of course, this is one of the main parts, and especially main business for us, and the reason why we are so satisfied with the collaboration, because we know the Trek2Summit understand that if you go with a new project, I think, and I hope you're not lying to me, and nobody else as well, the first choice you're going is AMD after. So yeah, so compute, and there's also containers, there's also storage where you can choose, or AMD sits behind. We have also a Amazon Game Lift where AMD is behind. So there's a lot of AMD in AWS. Yeah, we call it internal properties, but the main reason why I'm here and why you are here is really the compute part, and why people need to understand that it's not just a virtual server. You can choose also between the CPU. Yeah, so you have the option in the web interface to move from blue to us, how we call it right now, red. And the reason is why you should do it. You have better performance, you have also better pricing and sustainability. So just to let you know, because I think a lot of people are not aware of it, from the architecture standpoint, the AMD chipset is using less TDP, so less thermal design power in terms of energy consumption. Yeah, what is also really important, I think, in the 21st century.
Very much. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have cases where customers asking us to make even some calculations. Yeah, because the CTO, the CIO has something on his KPI roadmap. The company needs to, I don't know, save 2,000 tons of gallons CO2 emissions, so we can help you with that. So in just switching the instance from the competition to AMD, you're already doing it, and we can calculate it, and you can mark the KPI, and everybody will be happy. And yeah, what is important to know, because I think this is the big challenging thing here. And I remember, Rafał, when we met first time, it was at the AWS event in Hamburg. You were also asking me, but where is AMD? Where is the game plan? Why AMD? Why are we talking? And I told you, look, there are different instances with different naming, and most of the people have no clue what is behind the naming, yeah? Because also the other hyperscalers, the naming is totally different. And you can see now here behind on the screen, you can see like an overview of the different AMD instances we have here. So it's quite funny, and I use a German word here. In fact, it's two connected words. It's a Buchstabensalat.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's a mouthful.
Yeah, so it's like a salad with different letters, yeah, because the naming is really difficult, but there's like one general rule. This rule doesn't apply always, but always if you choose an AMD instance at AWS, you have somewhere an A. Yeah, so for example, an M7A, an R7A, or C7A, this is all AMD, yeah?
Yeah, which is really fine because, like you said, at the time when we met, I have been working with AWS for a decade already, and I knew. Come on, guys, I knew different types of instances. However, I always thought of them. I always looked at performance. I always look at the type of the chipset. So, for instance, x86. That's what I want, and many of the people who are watching us right now, I'm sure their first baby steps they did on AWS were with T3A instances.
Yes.
And nobody ever thinks, like maybe not nobody, but majority of people don't think what the A stands for. They just go for these types of instances because you get the best bang for your buck with them. Very performant for the price. Now I know.
Exactly, and I think the time where we just sitting here and creating this kind of webinar podcast is the perfect time because we just launched our 5th generation, yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 generation of our AMD instances, which is named Turin instances. Yep. So for example, now AWS just launched the C8A, which are the compute instances, and all the M8A, which are the general purpose instances. So we have right now the newest instances available at AWS, and they are really, really good. They even much better than the competition. And here's one main question I'm always receiving, but what is about Graviton?
Okay. Oh, that's a
so
maybe not.
We still better. x86 is still a better architecture. So what I can tell you is that many times in the calculations, when you see some different calculations, it's not really comparing apple to apples, yeah, because many often you just need one AMD CPU, and you can achieve the same you would achieve with 2 ARM CPUs, yeah, based on ARM technology. So if you really look at it in a detail, you will see that still x86 is the leading architecture, and it makes totally sense to go with AMD. And we have available materials which I can provide to customers. I think Trek2Summit has it already from us. I think the engineers are aware of it. And yeah, just as a small hint, it's not always like it looks like. You need to really look deeper into the material and in the specs.
Everybody, has their own benchmarks. Obviously, the vendor will always promote their own chipset, but let's not get into any conspiracy theories. I think, best to say is that if you're on AWS, if you care for things like sustainability, if you care for things like performance excellence, AMD is a great choice. If your workload is x86, then this is a no-brainer to go with an AMD instance. If you're already on an AMD instance, like M7A, for instance, now is the time, since we have the M8A. It's again another no-brainer. Just change the instance type, and you will already see a better performance for the price you pay. And this is with that you can already achieve. You can tick off so many boxes given the well-architected framework, and it's such an easy thing to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what is important to know. And one thing, it's not just the pricing, which is really good in terms of AMD instances at AWS. If you have, for example, a workload based on, I don't know, Microsoft SQL servers, yeah, because of our great architecture and the advantage we have in the technology, you can also sometimes double down the core count, yeah. So you have additional cost savings not just the price, regular price savings, you have also savings because of the better architecture, the better chip. You can choose a newer AMD instance and it will give you like double performance like you would have from the competition, and you have additional saving in using, for example, just the half of the core count. Yeah, and this is also really important to know, and I think this is something what a lot of times customers don't want to do because they scare, oh my God, if I move from 32 cores to 16, something will not work, yeah? There will be a downtime or whatever. No, it's not like that. It is working. It is working. You can try it. It will work.
Yeah, I think you touched upon, like, customers sometimes they will always compare like the value they have. They won't think about the optimizations they can make because, like you said, maybe you don't need 32 cores. Maybe, you know, with a better chipset you can go down to 16. Maybe you don't need 10 instances. Maybe 8 will be enough.
So the two keywords is modernize and downsize. Yeah, that's what customers need to understand. Because the performance, you can downsize your architecture and you can save money. And best way, do it with AMD, and even better, do it with AMD and Trek2Summit together. Yeah, and so
Let's go.
yeah.
Go, baby.
Well-architected framework.
Exactly. Yep. So AWS Well-Architected Framework is a framework developed by AWS. Who would have thought? So AWS, their solutions architect, took around 20 years of their collective experience from, you know, they got from working with thousands and thousands of customers, and they distilled that in a document which is approximately 1,000 pages long, quite a bit of a document, but it's broken down into 6 pillars, and these are operational excellence, security, reliability, performance efficiency, really something that, you know, Paweł cares a lot, cost optimization, and sustainability. Today we don't have time to talk about all of them. I will briefly go through operational excellence because that's the one that's nearest, that's I care most for, because I think if you get that one right, you're pretty much all of the way there with the other ones. So now you can see operational excellence. It's about running and monitoring systems to deliver business value. This is what all of us want to do. You see there's a quote from Atul Gawande at the screen, Sergeant Author of the Checklist Manifesto. You can read it on your own. It's on the screen, as I said. The lesson from that quote is that when systems become too complex for human memory alone, we need systematic approaches. And to draw a parallel in aviation, which is very close to my heart again, because maybe you don't know, or maybe Paweł probably knew.
I know, yeah. I'm still in shock.
I used to be a flight attendant back in the day, many years ago. Longer hair, no beard.
No beer or
no beard? No. Yeah. You can.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, maybe now, probably now you can.
Yeah.
Those were,
I'm not drinking,
times.
so I don't know. Just
Okay,
asking.
cool. So yeah, in aviation you have checklists. We as engineers in cloud operations, we have infrastructure as code. And here you can see, again, aviation has pilot briefing, pre-flight checklists, standardized procedures, onboard instruments, air traffic control, flight recorders, debriefing, and continuous learning from failures. And you can map these in cloud operations to infrastructure as code, automated CI/CD pipelines, runbooks, and metrics, retrospectives, and post-mortems. So again, the parallel here is that both domains deal with high stakes complexity where human error can be catastrophic, and that's why we need those guardrails, so that, and all of those tools to not rely on memory and instead codify best practices. Here I will show you a very simple scenario. So again, we're talking about the realm of operational excellence. The problem, ClickOps. So we've all been there. You want to, provision your instance. You go to the AWS console. You do a few clicks here and there, and boom, there you have it. The magic of cloud, which is great. On the other hand, if you're Rafał?
How you call it? ClickOps?
ClickOps, yeah.
That's a new wording for me. I learned. I like it.
Trendy. Avoid it at all costs. You don't want to deal with that, even with simple projects. So there's a better way than just clicking through all of these, and that's infrastructure as code. And here on the screen you can see a simple example using Terraform, one of the infrastructure as code tools. Obviously there are others like Pulumi, OpenTofu, CDK, CloudFormation, you name it, that you can use. I'm using Terraform because it's a very well-known one. So as you can see here on the screen, pretty much the same scenario. We have an EC2 instance, but here everything is defined. If it's in code, then you can treat it exactly as you would with application code. So you can version control it. You can have tests. You can have pull requests. You can have peer review, code reviews there. Much better. And here a list of measurable outcomes. So again, by switching from ClickOps, you learn that today, to infrastructures, you can lower your deployment time from hours to minutes. You can, for configuration errors, you can catch them early instead of catching them late, which obviously nobody wants to do. If you have an issue with your application and a customer comes to you and tells you that something is wrong, that is obviously way too late. And bottom line, if they tell you about the issue, that's great. Many customers will just leave your app. They won't buy your stuff because, it's not working. So we want to avoid that. And you get environment consistency. So you get a partial without infrastructure as code, you would get a partial match. With it, you can have 99.9% match. So you can get that dev prod parity, which we all strive for. Obviously, better with auditing because everything is automated and 100% traceable, and the mean time to recovery can go down from hours to minutes. And this was an example of a single of those pillars from Well-Architected. Very straightforward, I would say. Other than the pillars, there is something that AWS calls core design principles, and you have different core design principles for each of those pillars. And also you have something that they call high risk issues. And these are things generally to avoid. Usual procedure is that,
high risk issues?
Yes.
Could be, for example, taking the CPU of our competition.
Number one.
Okay.
Very
just asking. Okay.
Oh, maybe you're looking for a job. You could join us, do some of these reviews.
I'm totally happy.
You
know, I'm still struggling to say the word well-framed architecture.
Well-architected.
Just joking.
Okay, sorry, you caught me there.
So it seems like it's the new skyscraper which was built in Saudi Arabia, if I hear this word. But it's definitely something really important. What I think customer should always consider to do it exactly in the way you were just explaining. And coming back maybe to the partnership, I think really that a migration like Trek2Summit is really important for all the enterprise customers, companies, that you have somebody who is going with you hand in hand in doing the step, helping you in all these technical questions you will probably have and face. And we're also here to support you and to support the end customers. So I think we are now 2026 starting. I think it's the year where public cloud will grow even more than ever before.
Yep. 2026, and we haven't mentioned Gen AI once in this video.
Exactly.